You started with the question, how do we manage the relationship between governments, industry, and people? And at least our observation in Papua New Guinea is that you have to start with the people. You have to understand what it is that the people need. As we have discovered in Papua New Guinea, just using the case of deforestation, people are cutting down forests because they have dreams for their children. They want their children to have health. They want their children to have education. They want their children to have a future. And all that they see around them are forests. And the globe has asked countries like Papua New Guinea to provide hardwoods, to provide agricultural products. And so that's what we do. We cut down the forests, we sell them, but it's driven by humans seeking a future for themselves. So once we understand that, then it becomes a question of what does a government do to set up a positive incentive system? How is it that we reframe the policies that we have in place to set up an incentive that leads to the sustainable outcome? And then for us, once we understand that compact between the people and a government, that's then when we mobilize the businesses in between, because the businesses are made up of people. They're made up of the people trying to take resources and channel them to the effectiveness of their marketplace, which is, again, people. So in Papua New Guinea, as we looked at the requirement of our people, as we looked at the requirement of governments and how we could mobilize capital and people, it became clear to us that we needed a global solution here. That as we looked at the values of our forests, so many of the values were values to the global common, but yet they were unvalued. And I've used this example before, that 150 years ago, the world fell in love with geological services, and poor people in West Texas or in the Middle East that previously could hardly stay alive became wealthy as the world found a use for oil. And what we need to do now is we have to, as a humanity, find a way to value the services that forests provide, but also the wind and the sun, etc. And we have to harness that into a global value construct. And that's where I think we now come into the need for global regulation. And I think the UNFCCC is a really interesting catalyst, that it's shown us that by harnessing all of our collective economies, trying to determine a set of regulatory frameworks, that we can mobilize capital, and we can mobilize capital in a sustainable way. So it starts with people, it moves to national governments, we then find the business role in there, and we then focus on a global regime, is our experience.